In this video, I'm going to show you 3 tweaks that you can use to transform an ordinary chord progression into something which sounds way more interesting and epic. I've been a piano teacher for 10 years, and these are the same tweaks, the same techniques that I show my students when they want to take their piano chords to the next level. I'm also including a simple technique that you can use to start playing more complex and interesting chords straight away. So, stay tuned. Hey guys, my name's Joseph Sikora, founder of Creative Piano Academy, where people come to learn simple techniques to get better at the piano. And if that sounds good to you, then do consider smashing that subscribe button. Now, let's get going. So to show you how these tweaks, these techniques can work, I'm going to take a really common chord progression in the key of C. I'm going to take a 6, a 4, a 1, and a 5 sequence. It's fantastic, you'll have heard it before. In the key of C, we've got A minor, which is chord 6. It's built on the 6th note. We've got F major, which is chord 4. We've got C major, which is chord 1. And we've got G major, which is chord 5. Okay, so sounds like this. Okay, now I'm going to assume a few basics are covered. If you're finding that a little bit too difficult, then check out my other videos. I'm going to put loads more basics up. So bear that in mind for this video. We're going to apply everything to this common chord progression and see where we can take it. And you know what? If it's good enough for Ludovico Einaudi, it's good enough for you, and it's good enough for me. So tweak number 1, the magic of inversions. We're going to take these 4 chords that we've got here, this A minor, F, C, and G, and we're going to play around with the different ways we can play those chords using inversions. So, for instance, we've got a standard A minor chord here, which is, I'll play it down here, we've got A, C, and E. That's built on notes 1, 3, and 5. All we do for inversions, okay, is we take those numbers and we put them in a different order. So instead of 1, 3, 5, I'll do 3, 5, 1. Okay, that would be the first inversion. That's what we call the first inversion. And then we'll take 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, like this, and that would be the second inversion. Okay, so we've got root, which is the simple 1, 3, 5. We've got first inversion, 3, 5, 1, and then we've got the second inversion, 5, 1, 3. Okay, and we're going to use those inversions for all 4 chords. So first of all, I need you to get familiar with those different inversions using all 4 chords that we've gone over, okay? And you'll find this next stage far easier, trust me. First of all, I'm going to start out down here on the A minor chord. I'm going to just pick one at random. I love playing down here, okay, down towards the bass end of the piano. They just sound so rich and wonderful, and it just feels really good to play down here. So I'm going to take standard A's in the bass. Now I'm going to take a second inversion A minor chord here. Okay, so just follow along. Now, the first technique I want you to think about is how can we move these chords down towards the bass end of the piano. So I'm starting out with the A minor. How can I now play an F, which is my second chord? How can I play an F moving that way? Okay, moving down towards the bass end. Well, what are my notes? F, A, and C. So I've got a C here, got an F, and I've got an A. So I have to move from here down to here. Now, what if I want to continue? Well, to move to C, I can simply move these fingers down to the E and the G. Okay, that would be a C, an E, and a G. So that would be the root position of C. So, all in all, we've got, or so far, we've got A minor, F, C, like this. So I've got second inversion A minor, second inversion F, C, and then I want to finish it off with chord 5, which is a G. That sounds quite nice. So we've got first inversion G, starting on the B, yeah, which is the third note in the G chord here. Okay, so all in all, we've got this. Okay, let's bring the bass in. So straight away, that sounds cool. That sounds really epic. Now, what if I want to apply that going in the other direction? So I want to take these chords up towards the treble end of the piano, up towards the right. So I'll start out with the same chord. Now, what can I do? I can just simply move here. That's technically moving up, but maybe I want to move a little bit I want a little bit more interesting here, so maybe I'll go one step further. So I'll use the next chord, which is F, A and C, so I can move up to this direction here, okay? And then I want to move to C, so I could continue that movement up towards the treble end of the piano here, and again, G here. So I'm continuously moving these chords using those different inversions, moving upwards. Okay, so I've started moving downwards, then I've moved upwards. So here, okay, bring the bass in. Okay, I mean, it's sounding pretty cool to me, is that? But I'll show you how that can work putting it together, you know? Maybe we want to go down, and then we want to go up to create an even bigger, a longer chord sequence, okay? So technically, I'm just playing the same chord sequence twice, but it's going to sound different. So have a listen to this. Okay? And I'm not adding any flair in there. I cannot wait till we get onto Tweak 2 to show you how we can really take that chord sequence up to the next level. But before that, I just want to very quickly show you one thing, and that is Hello by Adele. Now, I'm going to play it, and I want you to watch it, and I want you to think, oh, what do you notice about it, okay? So. Okay, now what do you notice? Here, I'm starting out with these chords, and every single time I play a new chord, it's moving down towards the bass end of the piano. Okay? And that sounds really, really nice. Now, I'm only showing you this so you can understand that if you apply these techniques, you know, who knows what you can come up with and what you can be inspired to play, because I really don't think that Greg Kurstin, the guy who most likely wrote this chord sequence, sat there and went, I know, I'm going to use the move towards the left end of the piano technique. No, I think what he's done is he's familiar with the chords, he's intimately familiar with what he's playing, he's simply got inspired and he knows what sounds good, and he's gone, ooh, that sounds good. And that's what I want for you. I want you to become familiar with the chords, the inversions, how they sound if I put them in different orders, and then you become intimately familiar with it, and then you can get inspired yourself and you can simply play what feels good. That's what I want. So that leads me on to tweak number 2, which is digging for melody. Okay, so this is all about taking our chord progression and turning it into a piece of music, okay, or a piece of music that's worth listening to. And we do that by digging for and discovering those melodies, uncovering those melodies that we can use between those chords, okay? Now, we can use what's called passing notes to do this. So I want to take a look at how we can use our left hand to create melodies using these passing notes. So if I go down into these same progression that we've used in Tweak 1, keep things simple, here. So the notes I'm using is just quite simply the root notes. We've got A, F, C and G. Now one thing to note very quickly is if you're struggling with octaves for now, don't worry, just use single notes. I use octaves because, you know, I just think it sounds epic and I've been playing for a long time. You don't need to worry about that, just use single notes if you're struggling. Now, A minor with an A in the bass. How do we move to F? Okay, that's my next chord. So maybe I can do that, I can add an E in. Okay, or maybe I can add a G in like this. Different kind of flavour. One thing to note as well is no matter what you play, so long as it's white notes, we're in the key of C, which is all the white notes, okay? So long as you play white notes, you're all good, okay? You can't go wrong, pretty much. You can do something which doesn't sound particularly pleasing, but that's up to you to discover, but you can't go wrong, okay? So here, oh, sounds quite cool. Now, my next note is a C down here. So how do I get there? I'll just fall down to it, okay? That sounds cool. And then I want to get to G. So from C to G like this. Okay, so I could go, that sounds all right. So I could also go from C, or I could go, I can do anything I want, okay? So long as I start here and end here. And that's the point. We're going to use these notes to move between them. So here. And there. To get back back to the I did something a bit fancy there, but here, I know I need to get here, I need to get back to this one, so I could go add something a bit bluesy in. Or I could equally just go, you know, sounds just as good really, I suppose, but it's just a different flavour. So that's how we can introduce notes in the left, but what about the right hand? Well, in the right, what we can do is something very, very similar. We'll take our chords that we've done in tweak 1. So what I'm going to do is, when you first start to do this, a little technique you can do is just take the top note of the chord here. So the top note is a C, my second chord, my second inversion F chord, my top note's an A. So how do I move from that C to that A, right? So I'll just add a B in. From there to there, I'll just add this in. And there we go. Sounds all right. So I quite like that. Now my next note's a G, because my next chord is a C and my top note's a G. So how do I get from there to there? Okay. Keep things very simple. I could just go. But you know, maybe we can make it a little bit more interesting. So here. That sounds all right. Okay, and then my next chord's a G and my top note's another G up at the top. So here, and there we go. I could add an A and then back to a G. As a side note, I know I'm keeping the top note here, but something which could sound really good is mixing it up a bit and move down to the D here as the melody. So, okay. So all I'm doing is I'm hunting out those passing notes moving between the chords. What if we wanted to go in the other direction? Okay. My first chord again, A. My next top note is an F here. So it's a C here. My top note's a C. My top note's an F. So what can I do? I can do that. I can go. I could go. Okay. A few different options there. I'll stick to this one. Okay. And then my next note's a G here on my C chord. So here. I think that sounds pretty good actually. I might just stick with that. So here. Like that. And then my last chord is a G, which is a B up at the top. So how do I move from the G to the B? Well, I could go. Or I could go add a C in. And I think that C sounds really nice. That kind of adds a bit of direction, variety to the melody. So if we put that together, it sounds like this. Okay? But this is what I wanted to show you from tweak 1, okay? Because now we can take the melody going down and put it together with the melody going up, and all of a sudden we've got a piece of music that's starting to take shape here. So have a listen to this. Okay. You know, that sounds pretty cool to me. It's not the most amazing thing in the world, but it's just using those techniques, okay? Now, before we move on to tweak 3, I just want to bring in Hello by Adele one last time to show you something, okay? Take a listen, see if you notice something. So, what we've got here, and all I'm doing here is taking Adele's melody and putting it over the chords. What do you notice? Look. Okay, top note. Top note. Top note. Top note. Okay, top note. Again. So, where the chord lands, the melody lands on the top note of that triad. And I'm not for a minute sitting here and going, write a melody using the top note of the triads and it will be awesome. It's not how it works, okay? You need to be familiar with those melodies, familiar with those passing notes, familiar with the chords, familiar with the inversions, and then it'll seep into your bones and you'll be able to be inspired, okay? And that's I firmly believe that's how Adele, you know, she's been writing melodies for ages and she just knows what sounds good. So this is a little technique that you can do to start creating your own really cool sounding melodies, okay? So on to tweak 3, which is all about creating intrigue using tension and release. So this is all about taking our chord progression to the next level using tension and release. So I want to show you a simple trick that you can do now without any knowledge of theory to add suspension chords in and add 7th chords in, okay? Now I'm not saying for a second that you shouldn't be learning theory. There is nothing better than learning music theory, and I'll be putting videos up about it. But if you just want to sit down on that piano and play, here's a little trick for you, okay? Now I want to take a power chord in the right hand, okay? Now guitarists use power chords all the time. It's quite simply just the root and the 5th note played together. We forget about the 3rd. Now the power chord I'm interested in now is the C power chord, because C is our tonal center. It's home. It's the key that we're in. So that's going to be a C, which is note 1, and a G, which is note 5. So I've got a C and a G, like this. Okay, so I'm going to play it up here, a G and a C. You'll see why in a second. So I'm going to keep playing those like that, and in the left hand, okay, over the top of that, with the left hand I'm going to play the normal chords that we're used to, the chords that we've just been playing. A minor, F, C, and then G, using various different inversions that we've gone over in tweak 1. Now listen to what happens if I play A minor and I play this power chord over the top. All of a sudden it changes, yeah? Here. So instead of just sounding like a normal A minor chord, now we've got this added G in. So that immediately makes us go, ooh, something's not quite right here, okay? This is actually called a 7th, okay? And this is going to be A minor 7, because we've got this G, which is the 7th note above A, added in. So here we go. And then we're going to change to an F. Now listen to what happens now. I've still got that G riding through, and that G adds a 2nd note in to the F chord, which so that means it's F sus2 here. Yeah? And then I'm going to switch to a C. Now notice something. Nothing changes here. This is just a normal C major chord, but that's good because it's our tonal quality, it's our tonal center, it's home, okay? So that's the release. All of a sudden we've got this, ooh. So it's still not quite right, but it's getting there, and now we're home. Okay, we've got that tonal center. And now we're going to change to a G chord in the left, just keeping that same power chord going in the right. I love that chord. That's a G sus4, okay, or a G add 4, because we've got a C in there, which is the 4th note above G. So if I play that together, we get this. Okay, and so immediately that's adding that tension and release, that nice resolve feeling when we get to that C. So how can we take what we've just done? It sounds great on its own, but how can we do that and apply it to what we've done so far? Well, if we look at our standard chords here, our A minor chord, we know that we need a G and a C in there. Okay, we've already got a C, so I'll just add the G in. Immediately sounds nice. And then what we're going to do, we're going to move to an F, but I'm missing that G again, okay? I've still got the C, but I'm missing the G, so I'll add the G in. Okay, and then I move to C. Remember, that's just the nice C, that's home. There's nothing different here. And then I move to G, but I'm missing that C, so I'll add the C in. Sounds so nice as that one. So if I put that all together, we get something like this. Okay, so that's just a really simple way that you can find out which notes you need to add in and then add those notes in to your normal chord sequence, and it'll immediately spark some more interest in there. And then don't forget, you can start adding your melodies in. You know, keep it really simple to start with, but just something like this. Okay, so let's have a really quick recap. First, we talked about chord inversions, okay? How can we move towards the low end of the piano? How can we move towards the high end of the piano? And then you can try mixing them together and seeing what sounds good. Second, we talked about digging for melody. How do we move between one chord and another using passing notes. There's so many different ways we can do it. Explore them, okay? See what sounds good again. Third, we talked about tension and release. So we used a simple technique to find out what notes we need to use in order to add suspension chords, seventh chords, and really just make our chords a little bit more interesting and nice to listen to. So try those out, and the most important thing is just have some fun with it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want more like it, then do smash that subscribe button, that one down there, so that I can do more videos like this for you. Also, check out the information box below for all my links to social media. Also go to www.creativepianoacademy.com for more resources. Now over to you. What's your favorite chord progression to play? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. Till next time, have fun and keep playing.